Hi Hustle and Sparkle community, thanks for tuning in to part 2 of some tips that we have for as you transition from being a cubicle dweller to being your own thriving entrepreneurial business. So in part 1, we went over the finances, which is kind of the heavy stuff of launching a business. And now these are more of the, I would say, the personal tips that I would recommend for people to take a look at. And we've created a checklist. I'm going to go over 3 of my tips, but be sure to download our checklist because there's more things on there that I think you should consider while you're in this straddling transition period. I call it straddling, where you're straddling your old life. Maybe you have a full-time job, you have family commitments, you have other responsibilities, but you really want to be your own boss and you really don't want this transition period to be more than 24 months. I kind of think that's the magic number because I do find that people get burnout. I also find that if people can go at a project hard for 12 months, 18 months, they can really get some momentum behind it and launch it. And the timing never seems perfect and never seems right, but there is something to be said for energy and momentum to make everything easier. So we'll talk about that another time. But in this period, there's other things that you can also be doing. So for example, I would recommend doing a detailed inventory of your own personal skills. So what are you good at? Are you a particularly artsy person where you're very good at marketing, maybe photography, graphic design? So marketing your business might come naturally to you. Or are you a numbers person where you can really figure out your profitability and your accounting? That's a huge asset. Are you a people person where you're a great salesperson? You love interacting with people, but maybe some of your weaknesses are attention to detail. Maybe some of your weaknesses are actually producing the product. Maybe one of your weaknesses right now is not having enough contacts. Maybe you're not good at networking. Maybe that's not something that's natural for you. There's a lot of things, now as entrepreneurs, we can't all be good at everything, but as a solopreneur, when you first get started, you are in charge of everything. So during this transition period, it's a really good time to maybe work on some of these weaker skills to see if you can boost them up. So do your own personal inventory checklist and then maybe identify if there's any categories that you could maybe do a course on or maybe take 1 or 2 days a month where you really dedicate to getting better at that particular skill. Okay, so that's one of my tips. Number 2 in this transition period, depending on what your business is, this isn't applicable to everybody, but depending on your business, it might make sense to take a part-time job in that industry. So just hear me out, because a lot of people will be like, what? I'm already busy enough. That's really counterintuitive. I don't want to spend all of my time working on a part-time job. I get it. But for some people in certain industries, that makes sense. So for example, let's say you wanted to open up your own bakery. You're the baker in your family, everybody loves your baking, maybe your cakes, your cupcakes, whatever, but you haven't been your own boss before. You've maybe never had a retail space if that's what you're looking to have. It might make sense for you to go work for the most successful baker in town, even just as their cashier, because you're gonna get an inside glance at their day-to-day operations. How do they market their business? Who are their suppliers? You'll get to know all of their suppliers. Who are those contacts? What are the costs for some of their goods? You might be able to find out some of that information. There's so much there that you will be able to find out, and that could be a really big asset into giving you a bird's eye view into running your own business. You might only need to do that for 6 or 8 months. It might not be a long period of time. Now, for some people, that's also a really good way for them to pay down if they have any school debt or a credit card debt, because launching your own business, you don't want to have a lot of your own personal debt that you're carrying into that as well. So it could sort of help you twofold. The third thing is get a coach. So this I find helps people tremendously for a lot of reasons. Getting a coach or an accountability partner is going to be somebody that you can talk to, because when you want to be your own boss, not everybody is going to be a great sounding board for this. Most people are going to tell you you can't do it. That's why I always say to people, protect your idea. It's like a little baby. Don't be sharing this with the world. But having a coach, somebody to help walk you through some of these steps. But I've also noticed the big thing is holding people accountable to their progress. Most people do really well when they're accountable to somebody else, and that's just human nature. So if you have somebody that you've got to talk to every Sunday night, every Monday morning, whatever regular day of the week that is. I know this for a fact that the days leading up to that, you're gonna be like, okay, I've got to get my homework done because I'm talking to so and so. Because even if this is like your dream and you're going to accomplish it either way, a coach is really going to hold you accountable to that plan. They also might be able to connect you to other people that might also be good mentors for you, or other connections that might be able to help you. So I think that's also hugely valuable. There are other things, I just don't want to go on and on. So be sure to download the checklist, and I'm hoping that these ideas sort of bump you forward and shorten your time in that straddling period. Thanks, guys.